So I have finished this vase here. And as you can see, it's been finished and parted off from the workpiece. And you turn it around, you can see where there was flaws in the wood where I inlaid some epoxy resin and then sanded it, and it has and polished it. It has kind of a palm tree pattern. So it looks kind of decorative. So it's an example of if you can't fix it, feature it. And there's my sort of next blank for something else. Right. Now, when I was working on this, I had leftover material on the base. And so what I did was I turned that round, polished it. Now, what I have is, originally this was here, and I cut a tenon, as you can see on the end of that, and then finished it off, parted it off, turned it around, and used that as the template for the mortise, which was the body of the box. Okay, and so if you look in here, I hollowed out the entire thing, and I did that using Forstner bits coupled with a hollowing tool. And boy, it's a challenge. And it's part of the reason I did a straight wall hollow form first, is that's somewhat, at least I felt it was somewhat easier than trying to do curves, because there can be blind curves. Like seeing inside there is hard. Okay, to see what you're doing. Now the other thing that was a learning experience is this is end grain on this. Okay, so when you're working with it, everybody talks about how tough end grain is, and they're not kidding. And by tough, I mean hard to work with physically. It just does not want to cut as smoothly as the side grain. And in regular woodworking, you don't experience that quite as much. You do if you're using planes and other kinds of hand tools, but when you're using power tools, they just kind of slice through the end grain. You don't notice. Okay. But when I'm doing this, I was using the various lathe tools, and you can feel the change in the resistance and strength of the fibers. And I got quite a bit of tear out on this, which is too bad, which I then filled with epoxy and then polished. And this lid's a little chunky, so it's not my ideal thing. But again, for a first sort of hollow form canister project, it's good. And I'm probably going to do something better with this blank.